Viewers, good morning. I'm Ron Grant. You're watching 284 Media out of Road Town, Tortola, BVI. Thank you so much for joining us. The Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has launched a campaign to educate the Virgin Islands community about the functions of the Commission. Recently, the Commission has seen an increase in public outcry concerning the quality of telecommunications services in the Virgin Islands. With the renewal of the network provider licenses, the TRC is taking the time to educate the public, saying that they are being completely transparent about the process, adhering to international standards. After 15 years, the TRC is now able to review the licensing process for telecommunications operators. The focus is on the development of the industry and ensuring that the public's interest is protected. The Commission's overall goal is to create public awareness about the TRC's role within the industry, educate, of course, and inform persons about the licensing process for communication service providers and gain confidence in the Commission's operations. Joining me this morning is Chief Executive Officer of the TRC, Mr. Guy Malone. We cover the roles and functions of the TRC as well as its mission to facilitate high telecommunications infrastructure and service standards in the British Virgin Islands, the renewal process, the importance of telecommunications industry, and how the Commission seeks to aid in its development with the local market, as well as how the TRC will communicate with the community from here on, and all of these details as it pertains to the annual video competition. All this and so much more when 284 Media returns.
The win.
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Viewers, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Mr. Malone, welcome to 284 Media. This is, of course, your inaugural interview and visit. We welcome you to our studios. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you, Ron. Thank 284 Media for taking the time to give the Commission, some airtime that we can engage with the public, that we can let the public know that the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission is here to serve you, the public.
Wonderful. Before we get into today's conversation, I'd like to hear a little bit about your journey as it pertains to being the Chief Executive Officer at the TRC. Do you mind sharing that, please? Sure,
Ron. My journey started with telecommunications or working with the government from 1979. I worked as a messenger, and in 1982, I then proceeded to Barbados, where I did some technical studies in electronics. I returned to the BVI in 1984, and I worked with the Ministry of Communication and Work as the assistant to the telecommunications officer, the then telecommunications officer, Mr. Arthur Swain. And I worked my way where I was responsible for the radio licensing. When I say radio licensing, I'm talking about the radio stations. You're talking about the boat, the marine, the aeronautical, the amateur, all those different type of licenses. And that journey took me where I worked with the Ministry of Communication, as I said, and in 1987, I went off to England, where I went to Bristol University, and I achieved a bachelor degree in communication engineering with a concentration in telecommunications. I came back to the BVI then in 1990, where I took up the position from then as telecommunications officer, again under the ministry. I'll fast forward to 2005, where I was part of the liberalization team when we liberalized the telecommunications sector from that of a monopoly to that of a liberalized market. In 2012, I applied and was given a contract to be the Chief Executive Officer, and I've been in that seat from 2012 until present, Ron.
Wonderful. Having worked your way up literally, as you mentioned, from being a messenger, when you look back at all the years as it pertains to telecommunications and the industry, having been through, I'm sure, good, bad, and indifferent, what are you most proud of when you reflect on the journey of the commission?
Very good question. There's so much. The exposure internationally that I got as a young person. I remember going to my first international meeting, and I was what you'll call the child, the little boy in the room. And I'm proud that over the years now, most of those, my counterparts, they have phased out. And now you find the younger generation, they call my phone or they send me emails seeking information, tapping into my knowledge. So I'm very proud of that. As a BVI lander, I was given an opportunity to go off and study telecommunication. And over the years, I stuck to that professional. It was a dream of mine, and it came to fruition. And I'm very proud of the achievement and very proud of the support that I got as a BVI lander.
Wonderful. Tell us about the roles and functions of the TRC. What exactly are those?
The roles of the TRC. The TRC is a statutory body responsible for regulating the telecommunication industry. We also do spectrum management. We administer domain names. We advise the minister on policies relating to telecommunication matters, issues at international, national levels. And function as the Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, I'm responsible for the day-to-day management, administration, and overall operations and resources of the Commission. Ron.
All right. Now, the TRC's mission has always been to facilitate high telecommunications infrastructure and services standards in the Virgin Islands. Are you pleased so far with how the organization has been doing in this regard? Where exactly is the TRC as it pertains to facilitating high telecommunications infrastructure services standards in the BVI?
You asked, Ron, if as the CEO, if I'm
Are you
pleased?
pleased? Yes.
Yeah. You always strive for excellence, and along the journey there are pit stops, which, as I always say to my staff, we will learn from it and we will do better. Where the telecommunications in the region, I would say, international, national, where telecommunications stands in the BVI, we are somewhat 3 to 5 years behind that of Europe. So when you look at the way telecommunication has evolved, a small country of the BVI having issued 4 unitary licenses, it's a challenge for the small staff that we have. We wear a lot of different hats with respect to the, regulating licenses, regulating the industry with respect to, quality of service, with respect to adhering to the public cry, with respect to receiving value for money. Mm-hmm. So the Commission over the years has tried to keep up with the growing technology, because in the field of telecommunications, you'll find telecommunications services evolves and regulations follow. So we always have to keep a keen eye out there with the world, keep in touch with the world, benchmark with respect to what is happening. How can we encourage, how can we engage the operators that we regulate to be on the cutting edge, to provide quality service, to adhere to customer complaints, and to, most importantly, adhere to the information that the Commission always requests from them. Because I'll give an example. When there are statistics out there, we want to ensure we didn't make it up. We get it from the operator, because the ITU knocks on our door on a regular basis. Yes. For update on information. So we want to ensure that we have a partnership, develop a working partnership. We don't want to be seen as a regulator with a big stick trying to push things down the operator's throat. We want to work with them to let them understand that it's important that we develop a partnership, because at the end of the day, the BVI is a country that depends on people knocking on our shores to invest, and we want to ensure we have quality and first-class telecommunications service.
Understood. Now, telecommunications providers' license are up for renewal. Tell us about the renewal process.
The renewal process in the telecommunication world, a license is granted for a 15-year period. And Ron, you say 15, some people may think that's a long time. But I'll give an example. When an entity comes to any shore, whether it's the British Virgin Islands, whether it's any other region in the Caribbean or in the world, they make investments of upwards of $30 million, to put infrastructure in place to develop, to deliver services. And at the end of the day, that 15-year license is giving them an opportunity to get a return on their investment. And along the line of that, the process is not just for 15 years and then we walk away and say we're going to talk to you 15 years after. The regulator has to ensure that we regulate the operators, and by saying that, compliance is key. Everything that the operator do, we have to ensure it's with respect to the license, the same 15-year license that Correct. We negotiate, consult with the operators to give them, because a great example is in 2007 when we liberalized the market, by 2010, that's when the internet really took off. And here we were with regulation that govern things, as I said, technology evolves and regulation follow regulation, and we constantly have to be updating, revisiting the legislation, but it's a process that we have to work with the operators. So now we are going through the licensing process where we have revamped and looked at the application process, because it's key with all the information we should and have to receive from the operators. We have done that. We are in the process where we are receiving applications now to go through the process. It's a process that's outlined in the Act that we have to follow bit by bit. So where we at now, we are receiving application, we're going to be reviewing it, and there's a process where we have to engage with the operator, we have to put the information, certain information out to the public to be consulted on, where they would be given a chance to comment, and we have to look at these, comment, and we have to respond. So, Ron, it's a process that we have to work with operators, and I would say what is key in the licensing renewal process is the operators must be and should be in full compliance.
Understood. What would you say is the importance of a TRC to the telecommunications industry, and how does the Commission seek to really aid in its development within the local market, which you just mentioned a little bit about the local market?
The TRC plays a very important role because at the end of the day, an operator invests. Customers knock on operators' door for services in order to communicate. And as in this day and age, your cell phone is everything. I remember when I was going to school, I would have to go to the library to research something. If you have a conversation with someone today, they can just go on their phone, on the internet, and that information is provided instantaneously. So it's important that the TRC plays a very important role with respect to guiding and ensuring, regulating that the operators understand it's key, customer is key, because even if it's $1 they pay for a service, they should get value for money. And when I say value for money, it don't mean that you just give me a service and it's good. How you treat the customer, ensure that the customer is happy, ensure that the customer understand, because an example, a customer might go off and they might use services and not understand that there are limitations, and when they don't get the service that they think they should get, they should come to the operator and have a conversation with the operator and say, hey, this is what my contract said, but this is what's happening. The operator has an obligation to satisfy that customer. If the customer is not satisfied, then they should forward that complaint, escalate that complaint up to the regulator, which is the TRC, and it's our duty within a specified given period to consult with the operator in question to ensure that the customer is satisfied.
You mentioned about the partnership, the huge partnership between the Commission and, of course, providers. I want to talk a little bit about some misconceptions that you may have come across within the general public, where persons are misinterpreting the relationship and how the Commission works and partners with the actual providers. Can you share with us any misconceptions at all that you've come across?
Thank you for that. Very good question and point. Ron, the Commission duty, there's a misconception out there that the public, most general public think that the Commission, somebody makes a complaint or somebody go on social media and makes a complaint and the Commission just will jump up and go. It's a process, because in doing the license, preparing the license for renewal, a lot is outlined, and how the process, how we engage, how we do business with operators. So it's a process. That's why I just explained with respect to complaints, the way the process should be. So the misconception of the TRC can just get up and just do X, Y, or Z. No, we have to go through, we have to follow the Act, the telecommunication codes, the licenses, and all those stuff. We are governed by that, and we have to ensure that everything is followed. If we ask the operators for information, they have to provide it within the given time, within a specific given time, or else the Act would give power for us to issue fines. Just an example. So the misconception of thinking that the TRC can just get up and just run at the cry of a disgruntled consumer, you will find that there is a process, and we will encourage them to follow that process, because we don't want the operator to get agitated thinking that we are overstepping or authority.
I completely understand. Thank you for that clarity. I have to touch on the annual video competition, which is a staple of TRC. Tell us about it and how persons can be a part of that.
Yes, the TRC is very proud that on the 17th of May of every year, that signifies we celebrate World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. And there is a theme that is put out by the ITU, which is the International Telecommunication Union. That's the body that's governed telecommunication worldwide. So this year we are following that theme. And there is a competition that we have out there where you can take up your phone or run like you here, have your camera, and 5 minutes, I'm sorry, I don't want to say what is the theme, because I don't have it here in front of me.
We have the flyer up, so that's perfectly fine.
Okay, 5 minutes, you can tell a story or do a video in a story to say what does the theme means to telecommunication. And there is prizes for 12 to I think 18.
Okay.
And from 18 to adult, there are two different categories. I think I don't have the flyer in front of me, but the information is there. And we are excited. It's something that we did in the past that we got a lot of recognition for. Because of before we had it where in the prizes we would have that you will travel with either myself or a team from the TRC, and you will go to what you will call CTIA, which is in America, showcasing all of the evolving telecommunications equipment. But because of the pandemic, we are just doing monetary prizes, Ron.
Wonderful. And as I said, that's a staple event and competition of the TRC, and we thank you so much for bringing it to the general public. As we close, Mr. Malone, of course, you're on a media campaign, and I want to really touch on, ask you rather, how does the TRC intend to communicate with the community on a consistent basis moving forward regarding telecommunications regulatory matters?
Thank you, Ron. That is very important. It's part of the TRC. It's on the TRC work plan. From lessons learned, we want to ensure to the public that the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission is here to serve you, the public. So moving forward, we want to have more forums like this, Ron, where if it's not me, it's other staff members that we can put out their things. We have a glorious website that was just revamped where we have a lot of information. I encourage the public to go on that website. It's www.trc.vg. And I'm excited about it. You'll be happy to see a lot. You can learn about the commission. It has all the staff, it have all the board members, it have all of the consultation, past and present. It has a lot of documentation. If you have questions or if you want to understand about the Act, it's on the website. So the TRC moving forward, we want to engage more with the public in forums like this one and radio interviews where we can, bridge the gap with respect to what the public feels and how they feel about the commission, because the TRC is here to serve the public. The TRC is here to ensure that we regulate telecommunication and we work and develop a partnership with the operators.
Wonderful. Mr. Malone, once again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come. We welcome you back anytime to speak on any matters. Viewers, that is all the time we have, but of course that is not all the content. Be sure to stick to 284media.com as well as our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter, 284media BVI, for all the latest happenings, both locally, regionally, and international. We have a jam-packed day full of content, so be sure to stick with us. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.